Hello, everybody. So we've got something exciting today as our pregame. So I organized a group buy of some inks. Yup. So what we're gonna do today is I have new inks in. I need to divvy them up into vials, which will probably happen later today. And sorry, I was switching screens around so I didn't get cross-eyed. So what we're going to do is I'm going to swatch them, divvy up my vial of it, because I plan on ink reviews today being, like, doing these inks, but I'm not going to take it from the straight-up bottle. So getting my vials of it so that way I make sure to fill from only my stuff. And then I'll probably come back and just stream me divvying vials. I don't know, this will be like a 3 themes stream day, probably in 3 different streams so that way I can export to YouTube cleanly. So yeah, let's get started. I'm just going to take them out of the box one by one. I'm going to put the box over here, over to the side, and I'm just going to kind of take them out. Okay, so first up, we have Blue Ringed Octopus Blue. Oh, also exciting, I only have 3 cards left in my other coloring. There are 8 inks, so therefore new coloring. This should have been a San Francisco one, but I was a dumbass and did not buy the San Francisco coloring while I was in San Francisco Pen Show, literally working right next to the well-appointed desk table. Like, I could have, like, reached over and just grabbed one from where I was sitting most of the time during the show. But that's okay. It's like shiny new coloring. Oh, and the ring is very nice because it hasn't been, like, opened and closed a million times. Oh no, it is too loose. Here we are, over to the side. So Blue Ringed Octopus Blue. These are all the wet versions of the inks. Oh yeah, yay new coloring. So the Anderillium is, I don't know if you've seen some of the newer ink companies have made it so you can customize like what wetness you want in your ink, like what flow. I lean towards the wet versions of these inks, but since it was a group buy, I did ask everyone who participated in it, and the overwhelming like consensus, it was unanimous, was the wet version. So these are all the wet versions of the inks. So probably, as you've seen in my reviews in the past, flow makes a big, like, the flow of the ink makes a big deal in what the color ends up being. So if you're interested in the dry version of the inks, this will not be a good sample for you. Okay, so we got a coloring. I've got over to the side a bunch of pipettes and my standard paintbrush and dip pen that I use for these. Oh, that's a real pretty blue. It's reminding me of like Lamy Turquoise or something. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do to make these consistent? With all the other ones, they're gonna be a little damp beforehand. So I've got a thing of water. Just wipe that off real quick. That is super pretty. Sorry, I'm rearranging things as I go. And then let's do... Wow, this is like really... I don't know what their lubricating agent is, but it's not sticking as well to the dip pen. Yeah, this is like not like sticking. It's definitely wet, but it's wet because it's like hydrophobic. And that's actually, as it's drying, causing some weirdness in the swab. Like, it's got like dots in it. It's really weird. And that's feathering super bad. Hardly anything feathers on the coloring paper. That's concerning. So maybe you do want the dry versions of these inks. Maybe the dry versions of these inks are better behaved? I don't know. Too late now. What am I doing? Yeah, that's got... We'll see what it looks like in writing samples. But that's like destroyed the coloring paper. Okay, so that's blue ringed octopus blue. And when I got some on my thumb. These jars don't seem to be the most ideal. I get probably why he did it this way. Because it looks classy, but like, I don't know. I'm also disappointed they got some really cool art. But it's not on the bottle at all. So yeah. At this point, just to save room, I'm just going to put it back in the box. Okay, and let's see. Oh, I was going to like divvy up my swatch. What am I doing? Or my sample. What am I doing? There we are. It just happened in the first box it was. That's where mine was. Yeah, we'll see how it looks when I actually review them. It could just be like, it doesn't, because dip pens do perform differently. They're usually wetter than your standard. Like fountain pen. This is all sorts of bubbles, which is why I'm there. Okay. So that's the sample off to the side. Next, we have Flapjack Octopus Orange. The other reason why I went for these is because I am slightly into cephalopods. Like, I'm a marine biologist, if you didn't know that. Like, by training. Okay. Oh, that's nice light. It's an orange. I mean, it's an orange, so I'm not surprised. I'm going to set this somewhere over to the side so we can just deal with one of these at a time. Oh, that's a nice orange. Come here, my coloring. Oh, okay. This also means that I've broken over 200 inks that I have swatched at least. I've definitely given a lot away, so I don't have 200 inks currently in my collection. But, you know, hey. So the Blue Ring Octopus also had this like weird bubbling. I'm not quite sure about that. That's also way light. That's like a weird, like... So I know I've done like Pen Sajiki inks. Like there's that bright neon pink one. It reminds me of that, but the orange version. It's also doing this weird, like bumpy thing on the paper. Like that's really weird. Like, I never have to dip more than once for these. And I also should have written wet on the other one. Yeah, that's also feathering, like, super bad. These could all be duds. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go back to this one and write the little wet in it from my sample. Okay, so I've got that, and then I also need to get my sample. That's cuttlefish, spirulia. I did not, I labeled these vials before I actually, like I labeled them last week before I actually got things, so I don't know what order, like the order I'm pulling them out of the box is not the same order that they are in my rack of vials. Yeah, they all bubble really weirdly. It's like they have soap in them or something. Like, I've never had inks that bubble like this. It's like they're sudsy. Like, look, you can even see that in the jar. They're sudsy. That's really weird. Okay, next. So again, I'm going to set that over to the side. I do kind of like the base color of this because it's more of like a neon in-your-face orange. But yeah, you can't like read that. That is super... Ugh. This makes me wonder like what they are doing to make things more or less lubricated. So this, now we're at Spirulia Green. All the colors in the caps look really nice. And then I go and put them on the coloring and it's like, what is this weirdness? This one's sticking a little better, so there's hope. That's a nice green. I'm hoping it doesn't do the same weirdness, but yeah, like you can see how sudsy it is. It's not quite as vibrant on the screen. For some reason, my webcam hates greens, but this is more like Mont Blanc Irish Green, Private Reserve Spearmint, that sort of just pure green. This one seems better behaved than the other ones. I could say that already. It didn't like slide off my pen, and you could see it kind of stuck to the paintbrush a little better. It still feathers in the really heavy areas, but not nearly as bad as the other couple. So, and it's still doing this weird like pilling thing on the paper. Like it's too much for it, but this one is a lot better than the other two. Which I like because I have a green ink problem. You can't tell by looking at my collection because it's not like green is that significantly higher of a proportion of it, but that's because I've tamped down. Like I know it's a problem and I consciously don't go for every single green ink. Okay. So yeah, it's much more So the thing that you see in the cap is actually more accurate than here. Yeah, let me actually, you know what I should be doing? I should be comparing these to other inks as I get them out. So let me do that for the last couple. This is again doing the sudsy thing. But let me get my coloring out to compare, because a lot of these don't have the great or like so let's do, so this green, it's not quite, actually, you know what, I'm gonna let it dry a little bit and do the other two so far. So the blue, getting there. Like I said, it's very punchy. It's a nice blue. It just performs like shit. Huh. So I would actually put this between Diamine Blue Lightning and Colorverse Supernova to give you a sense. It's a little bit lighter than Supernova and a little bit darker than Blue Lightning. So it's a good color. It just clearly performs like crap. Like, you can see all the feathering on the coloring. Flapjack Orange. So yeah, it's definitely got the same like luminescent neon quality as the Pensajiki, but it's not like, it's orange. It's not like pinkish. This is a rough one. I really don't have a good comparison. Like, I guess no, that's a little bit too yellow. Like, it's not even the same hue, but darker. Yeah, I'd probably put it with Sailor Apricot and Orange Soleil, but like a lot lighter. A lot lighter. And also hella feathery. Okay. And then, like I said, we are firmly in the like deep dark greens. I actually don't have Mont Blanc Irish Green, but I've just seen it, people use it a bunch. But yeah, Private Reserve Spearmint, Jacques Herbon Vert Amazon, right there. I know it's not a good comparison. Or like a little bit more yellow, like a touch, than Diamine Magical Forest. But yeah, it's right there with Diamine Spearmint. Maybe a little touch more green, like it's right in here. I know these, like, I'm comparing it to all of these Jacques Herbon inks, which like people largely don't have. That was the other group buy I put together. But just for comparison purposes, that's where it lands. But the Jacques Herbon inks were a lot better behaved. And yeah, you can see that there is feathering here, but like I said, not nearly as bad. This one has been the best behaved by far. Sorry, I'm making room. I need to clean my desk. I have so much stuff scattered anywhere that I don't even like need to have out on my desk anymore. It's just sort of there because I haven't moved it. Okay, next one. That was another green. Like I said, I'm just pulling this out. Yeah, it might be. So like I said, these are all the wet versions. I don't know how the dry versions can perform in comparison, and it's probably, you probably would need to compare all the wet versions to all the dry versions, because the dyes are going to have different chemical properties, so they're all going to be slightly different. Yeah, the dotting issue, bubbly dotting issue, it was not as much a thing for the green, for that green. So that was Spirula green. This is Bobtail Squid green. So, actually, let's open it. Ooh, this is right up my alley green. This is like Ackerman 28, Robert Oster Sublime. At least from the cap. We'll see what it looks like on the actual swab. That is also sticking much better. So maybe the green dye is more cooperative, whatever they're using. Yeah, and this isn't bubbling nearly as much. That orange was just a shit show. Like, the blue is bad, but the orange is like, why? Why does this ink exist? See how many times I have to go back and dip it? It's whatever lubricant they're doing. Like, I can tell this will make it flow real good in a pen. But this is not good for dip pens. It stuck to the paintbrush well, but the paintbrush also has a lot more surface area. Okay. Spirula, vampire squid, flying squid. There's a lot of these. I'm loving the fact that it's all, you know, nerdy squid. Because that's the main reason why I Instabought. This one has a really nice crispness to the outside of the swab. It still has that, like, spotting issue, but not as bad as, like, the orange or the blue. It doesn't seem to be feathering as much either. So yeah, it seems the greens are better behaved in this set than the other colors so far. And it's also not bubbling as much. Okay. And then let's also compare this in the coloring. So like I said, that's definitely Ackerman 28. So we're going earlier in the greens now. Oh yeah, right here. This good section. Where is Robert Oster Sublime? No, that's too yellow. That's why it's all the way over there. So yeah. So this ink I actually used literally as a highlighter ink. St. Patty's Ire, like I literally have it, I drop it in a preppy highlighter pen. Yeah, no, it's like Ackerman 28, but more neon. Ackerman 28 is a little more subdued. It's got a touch more yellow in it. Ackerman 28 has a touch more yellow in it than this does, and this has more neon in it. So it's like, it's probably, I guess, closer to Diamine Autumn Oak, but it's right in this family. If you were to add some of the fluorescent neon of St. Patty's Ire to Ackerman 28, you would probably get this ink. And as it's drying, oh, that feathering is just, that is unfortunate. Ugh. It seems that whatever they did to make it flow better makes it just soak right through paper. Nothing's bled through yet because Anna designs good products, but I'm worried. The only thing this probably won't feather in is Tomoe River, if I were to venture a guess. Okay, next one. Okay, so this one I know Evgeny bought the wet and dry versions of the Colossal Squid Darks. This is the only one I know of right now that's out there that is getting both reviewed. And compared directly. Also, Colossal Squid Dark. Oh, that Staples notebook is done. That Staples notebook is gonna get obliterated. Oh man, that's actually gonna be entertaining. I'm now looking forward to seeing how bad it is. But like, anyway, the color is dark. I don't know. I'm a little confused by this naming. Dark isn't a color. But because it's so weird, I'm almost amused. It looks like petrol. Lamy petrol is what it looks like. Just from the cap. I like how you can't even tell that there was once an orange ink in this rinse water. From what Evgeny posted real quick in swatches on Slack, I want to say the dry looked like it had better shading and all that fun stuff. So this might be worth another group buy round to get the dry inks. But there was also a really good sale that is no longer there. This is not sticking to that paintbrush at all. This is going to be one that does horrible performance. So it's like petrol, but it's going down super dark. I mean, it is dark. I guess that's why they called it dark, because it's definitely not black. Like, it's definitely like a tealish blue sort of thing, but it's just so pitch dark that you can't even tell. Which, that's actually a pretty good representation of the abyss. Like, I'm talking the oceanic layer there. You know, I gave this ink shit, but it's the only one that I didn't have to re-dip. I just realized it's coming off much more bluish purple on screen in the swab than it is in real life. There's more green to it in real life, which that's pretty common with my camera. Blue greens, they all tend to lean very blue rather than green. Oh, that just obliterated my jar. It now looks like totally dark. So I said I don't get the name, but it actually really fits the ink descriptively. Like, yeah, dark. That's a good description. It's Flapjack Orange, Colossal Squid Dark. I don't even know where I'm filling because of the bubble. This one's very sticky, which is better than the other ones, I guess. And I'm just looking at my pipettes over here that have been laying on their side. The ones, like the orange, the orange has just completely come off the sides of the pipette, which makes sense with its performance because it's just like, no, what is adherence to the side of a container? Yeah, this one's nice. Evgeny probably picked the best one so far as his one to pick to review in terms of behavior. Which makes me nervous because he's also testing them out for Ron to Pen Chalet. And I don't want Ron to buy them just based off of this one ink comparison because they're all performing real differently. We need to compare it. What am I doing? Like I said, this looks like Lamy Petrol. Not gonna lie. Where did I even put Lamy Petrol? But like a darker version of Lamy Petrol. Yep. Lamy Petrol, just like a shade or two darker. So if you like Lamy Petrol and you missed out because it just sold out instantly, this might be a good bet for you. That's a really, really close dupe. Now, if only we could get a dark lilac dupe. Though, there's potential. Oh, wait, no, this is blue. I don't think they have a purple. Yeah, there's no purple in this set. So now we have Flying Squid Blue. So this is like a regular, this is like a more dark blue. Where? Sorry, I'm just wondering, I'm like, my bot should have given the little subscribe message by now. There we are. I have verdigris too. Verdigris, I just did that one actually. Verdigris is like right here, yeah. Petrol is a little bit more green than verdigris. Enough that they are different, and this one's a lot darker than verdigris. So I can see how people would want the different ones. So let's see, this is Flying Squid Blue. So that looks more like a standard blue, which I mean, like, yeah. You gotta, I mean, it doesn't technically have black, it just says dark. But those are pretty standard. I will say, even though I personally am like, blue. Of my ink reviews that I post, the ones that get the most traction by far are the blues. Blues, people just love a good blue. Especially like this regular dark blue. Blacks also get a decent amount of traction, and I'm like, I'm sorry if you're gonna follow me for black inks, because I own like 3 of them compared to like my over 200. Sorry. Phone went off despite me putting it on silent. That's running off fairly quickly, so this might go weirdly. That's a nice blue. It's not like a pure popping blue, but that's a nice, like, it's got a touch of green to it. It's not a pure blue. It's got a very, like, maybe 1 drop in a very large batch of green. I like that blue. It's enough to be like office appropriate, but different. It's a little bit dark, like it's popping as more blue on the screen than it actually is, because like I said, my camera hates the green component of any of these blues with green in it. Okay. I'm now looking back. There is 0 feathering on the Colossal Squid Dark. That is the first one that hasn't feathered. That hasn't feathered. All the other ones have feathered at least to some degree. Okay, so now let's get the vial. Oh, thanks, Moobot. Redundant. Oh well. Guess I was just too eager. It's like... because I've had it before, Moobot just decides to not work after a little bit, and I have to like manually restart it, so I thought that was a case here, but apparently it's not. Okay. So let's compare these. Like I said, that's a nice, oh, I'm almost seeing like a hint of red sheen. Just like, it's not actually sheening, but it's looking like it's wanting to. I might need to go into different part. No? Okay, we're still in the right ballpark. Yeah, okay. This is actually very close. So I'm going to put it with KWZ Baltic Memories, which is almost a Blue Austral, but this is more blue than Blue Austral. I'd put it right next to Baltic Memories, which Baltic Memories also sheens. So that would make sense. Okay, we got two more. Two more, and then probably going to take a 10-15 minute break while I go get myself more tea. Come back to ink reviews. So now we got Vampire Squid Red. I would stick with Baltic Memories unless you want a smaller bottle, because it's only like $3 more for a bottle of Baltic Memories and a lot more ink in it. Unless you don't like the KWZ smell, or if you don't want that much ink. Because I understand that sometimes it's like, well, I like the color and I want more than a sample, but I don't want that much. Okay, I'm gonna have to go swap this because this has just become like not viable. Like, that's just color at this point. Okay, there we are. Actual thing. Yeah, it lasts pretty well. Honestly, clearly I would prefer to like actually rinse it off after every single ink, but that's not feasible. Or it's not super practical, especially like when I'm doing a whole bunch of inks at once. Okay, so that one's sticking real well to the paintbrush. This probably will perform a little better. Sigh, it's a pinky red. I don't know why can companies not do a good red? That's unfortunate. Yeah, if you want to. Yeah, this is more, because you could see it gets pink real easily when it's lighter. I don't know what it is about reds that they just end up weak sauce so often. So this didn't have any of the bubble or like spotting issues, at least so far. This one actually seems to have gone down smoothly, but like I said, it's got like a pinker edge to it, which makes me sad. Yeah. I have not actually used Rouge à Perha. I've given out lots of samples of it, or not samples, carts of it, in PIF starter packs. Yeah, I will say this one bubbles less. It made it easier to do the sample. Okay, so now let's compare. Yeah, we've all been firmly in this coloring. We haven't ventured into the blues, or not blues, into like the pinks or purples or browns or blacks or anything at all. Yeah, it's got like a pinky orangey quality to it, which means I probably have like minimal things to compare it to, because that's like my least favorite kind of red. Diamond Poppy Red, maybe. Whoa, that came off as super orange. Maybe that's a gold sheen to it. It might be a gold sheen, a very subtle gold sheen, which would put it with Diamond Wild Strawberry. Yeah, it's between these two. Diamond Poppy and Diamond Wild Strawberry, which are not, like, they're red, but they're like, it's coming off super like orangey gold, like rouge hematite, like in the video, and it's not. Like, it don't do that. Like, actually, I'm now curious to see what they look like compared to each other. Yeah, and see, like, you can't see the rouge hematite doing the thing in the video. Interesting. But yeah. Didn't feather that bad. Cool, so it seems like I got the real bad feathery ones first. Like, it's got a little bit of a gold sheen, don't get me wrong, but the camera was picking it up way excessively. Yeah, I would put it more like Diamond Strawberry, but not quite as pretty. So we got last one. Last one. Last one is Cuttlefish Brown. I have a special place in my heart for cuttlefish. I love them. Like the animal. Looks like a solid brown. Oh yeah, that's sliding off. Oh, this reminds me of Noodler's Walnut. Huh, but the strokes of the ink came, like, they blended really nicely. That's actually a really nice brown. It looks complex, like it's coming out, like you could see, like it's got some blue undertones to it. Like blue and pinky undertones. It could just, oh, it's drying. So it's not as rich of a brown dry as it is wet. That's really interesting. Okay. Yeah, it's drying much less rich. It's drying a little more dusty with like some red and blue undertones simultaneously, like not purple undertones, distinctly red and blue undertones separately. I'm not quite sure how it's achieving that, but it is. Why did I dry that off? I was looking for a pipette. Cool. It's interesting to me that they don't have any like pink or purple. Like the only two warm colors they have are the red and the orange, which is strange to me. Like you have two greens and two blues and like a green, dark green blue, but you don't have like a purple or a pink. Okay, so let's compare it to other browns. I know I've done a lot of browns lately. Like I've mentioned in past couple weeks, is we're in the area of my ink samples where I was trying out a bunch of different browns. We'll get to a point where I was trying out a bunch of different reds, because that phase also happened, which is the reason why I have most of my reds. Yeah, I pegged it. Noodler's Walnut. but not quite as streaky. Noodler's Walnut is a little bit more warm. Oh, hey, this has a subtle green sheen coming out on the edge. Yeah, it's got a little bit of a green sheen to it. Maybe Private Reserve Chocolat, but Chocolat is a little more yellow. This is actually a weird brown. I do not have much. Dark chocolate is too purple. Oh, that's a good point. Rikyucha is too green. Huh. Actually, it might be a darker version of this family. So, Shitty Sepia, but like way darker. And like I said, that's got a sheen to it. That's got a like teal greenish sheen. Huh. So imagine Shitty Sepia or Diamond Macassar, but punchier? Or almost like Rikyucha, but instead of like green being in the ink like with Rikyucha, they're like green as sheen? Yeah, I'll probably put it in here. Maybe between these two. Yeah, I'd probably put it between these two. Because like I said, the green goes with Rikyucha and Shitty Sepia. So if you want so unfortunately, they're very different colors, but in the same color. Like this is just a darker version of Shitty Sepia, but like same hue, almost. So this isn't a good stand-in for Shitty Sepia if you're desperate for it. Also, part of the joy of Shitty Sepia is the name Shitty Sepia, not necessarily the ink. It's still a good brown, but like, what makes that ink? Yeah, this has got a sheen. It's got a green sheen, like teal, like Lamy petrol shade sheen. And it's not feathering. This might be the like low-key sleeper hit of this set. Because I don't think I've ever seen a brown sheen. I have a lot of brown inks. I don't think I've ever seen one sheen. Other than, in theory, Karub de Chypre sheens, but I've never seen it. Yeah. Sleeper hit. So that's all of them. Let me assemble them all for you now since we have them all done. The winners here, I would say, are the brown and the dark. This one's cool, but it's not that orangey. It is trying to sheen. It is trying, but it's not quite there yet. Versus this one is like, yep, yes, I sheen. These two, your dark and your brown, are your winners. This one just like dark is the best performing by far of the whole set, of the wet set. This is also a nice one for an office setting because it looks black, but it's not. It's just a really, 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 really dark teal. This is also a good dupe for Lamy Petrol if you missed that one. Brown, like I said, it's a nice brown that has a green sheen. That's pretty awesome. This one's pretty good. Probably these three are okay in terms of performance. My other two favorites are these two. This one just because I like green, but you can see it's a little spotty. And the performance isn't great. This is a good blue. People will probably like this one because this is just the type of blue that people go gaga for. So very similar to Baltic Memories. The red's okay. Yes, Aqua. The orange is horrible. Don't get the orange. This is okay. It's cheaper than Ackerman 28. But Ackerman 28 also performs better. There's a lot more turquoises out there. Don't waste your time on this one. It doesn't perform that well. Hi, Acua. It doesn't perform that well. You can get better ones. Say hi to Aqua, everybody. I apologize to your ears. So yeah, that's my summary. Basically, the darker the ink is, the better it performs, is the theme. The really light ones, like I said, the orange is unfortunate. But yeah. So, yeah. And then I'll be reviewing these over the next couple weeks. Cool. So yeah, I'm gonna turn off the stream for a little bit to make a nice segmented thing for YouTube, and also get another drink and satisfy Aqua, because she clearly is being very clingy. It's my day off. She normally is clingy. And then I'll come back and start reviewing, like actually doing writing samples with these. I'm gonna start in order. So we're gonna start with these two, which is unfortunate, but it has to be done. Okay, cool. So yeah, I'll see you in a little bit. Okay, bye.